Hello, Moonbeams! Welcome back to my channel, Mystic Moon School. This is Donna Cass, and I am here to discuss with you the different energies that Mama Moon is moving through each and every week. And this week we are at July. This is the week of July 1st through the 7th for this podcast. We have a Cancer new moon towards the end of the week. We have some other big players. Neptune is making a big move. Mercury is making a move this week. And so I'm going to discuss all of this with you. So go ahead and grab your journal if you are one of those moonbeams who likes to chart out your week, or if you're going to go take a nice walk and listen to this podcast, whatever it is for you. I am just so grateful you are here, tuning in to listen, and so that we can exchange energy with one another. So yes, so for this podcast, I'm calling this podcast that we are feeling deeply into our emotional needs, and I'm calling it part 2 because 2 weeks ago I did part 1 when we had the first of 2 Capricorn full moons on June 21st, and that was also the same day as the summer solstice, which is when the sun moved into Cancer. We began Cancer season, and so we had this beautiful balancing of Capricorn and Cancer. And I was focusing in that podcast on the energies that Capricorn and Cancer can sometimes play out of the father, Capricorn, the mother, Cancer. And that beautiful axis that Cancer and Capricorn share of the mother and the father, but also there are other qualities that these signs will explore energetically, and we'll talk a little bit about that in this week's podcast. But I am calling this podcast Feeling Deeply into Our Emotional Needs, and there is a reason for that. It is definitely the Cancer new moon, yes, but Neptune is playing a very big role this week, and I will be discussing that with you all. So I think what I'd like to do first is, well, I'm going to switch the slide here, but I do want to share with you that the moon from Monday through Sunday, the 1st through the 7th, she's actually going to be moving through 4 signs in the zodiac this week. And that doesn't always happen. You know, sometimes she spends a little bit more time in a specific sign. And so that will vary from week to week. But this week, as we kick off the week, as we kick off this new month, July, she's beginning in grounded energy in Taurus. She will then be moving into Gemini, then Cancer at the end of the week when we have that new moon, and then she will be ending up the week on Sunday in Leo. So we have quite a dynamic week in terms of the astrological energies of the zodiac that Mama Moon is quickly moving through this week. Okay, so I think that just to give you a bit of a foundation, an overview for the week, you know, the week starts off with the moon being in grounded Taurus energy. And so Monday is a good day to tap into your 5 senses, right? Because Taurus energy is sensual. And when I say that, I mean tapping into our 5 senses, right? Taste, touch, smell, sight. And so you may feel like you are wanting to be a little bit more grounded, getting things done in your world. Maybe you want to be in nature. Maybe you want to take off your shoes and socks and just have your bare feet on the grass, or if you live near the shore, maybe the beach, and just feel a little bit more grounded at the very beginning of this week. You may feel like you want to make a delicious meal, go out to eat and have a delicious meal, listen to some music, dance, right? Perhaps you want to find some way that is calling to you personally of tapping into those five senses at the beginning of the week. So I do feel that that would be a really great to whatever grounding means for you, and that's different for all of us. You know, sometimes it really is literally being in the garden, digging in the dirt, putting your feet on the ground barefoot, taking a walk in nature. Maybe it is cooking up some more grounding food for yourself, right? Root vegetables, that's a great way. Anything that's, you know, grown from the earth, you know, a nice salad with lots of vegetables in it, that can be very grounding. Whatever it is for you, okay? So Neptune is a big player this week, and I wanted to do, I took a really close look at the moon and Neptune all week long and how they are exchanging energy with each other all week long. And what I want to say first and foremost is that come Tuesday, Neptune will be stationing to go retrograde. And last week I talked about Saturn going retrograde, which was a very big deal. And now we have Neptune going retrograde as well. And so now we have some really big planetary energies, really, I want to say, pulling us to go within, to be reflective and to be more introspective. Okay. And so, you know, whenever a planet goes retrograde, it brings up all of those words: reflect, review, redo, reconnect, review. Oh, did I say review? Maybe I did, but you get the idea. So now what is Neptune about? Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. And so if Venus is love and earthly love of all sorts and kinds, then Neptune is divine love. That is in its highest expression, of course, and every sign and every planet is a spectrum of energies. That's always how I teach it. And so Neptune in its highest expression is that unconditional divine love, that feeling of oneness with all. But in its lowest expressions, Neptune can be confusion, disillusionment, the rose-colored glasses that don't really allow us to see the reality of a situation, of a person. Neptune can, in a low expression, can be victim energy, like, oh, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? Why does everything always happen to me, right? And so we want to be really clear about how these energies start playing out for us this week. We want to have a lot of awareness around, especially the first week that a planet goes retrograde. It's very strong. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to have high points and low points. It will throughout its time in retrograde, but especially in that first week, we can feel it pretty strongly. Okay. And and I just also want to say that Neptune will be retrograde until December 6th. Yeah, so the end of the year. So Saturn is not going to go direct until November 15th. Neptune will not be going direct until December 6th. Now we will be feeling that pull, that push-pull, and starting to move forward before that, but I'm talking about in its exactness, okay? So we have quite a bit of time here where these planets are going to be retrograde. And there will be other retrogrades, but I will talk about those when we get closer to them, when they're happening. But in terms of Neptune and the moon this week, okay, I want to make some correlations here for you. So the moon is our inner emotional world, right? It is our emotions. It is the changing of how we feel, the changing of emotions. And that can really be reflected by, as she moves through the signs every couple of days, every 2 to 3 days, she's moving into a different energy. And so we will feel that. That is the key word for the moon, is feel. The moon is very directly correlated to our oceans here on planet Earth, right? She affects the tides. Now, if you look at Neptune and you look at, the Greek myths of Neptune, the Greek and Roman myths, I should say, Neptune was Poseidon, one and the same, right? The king of the seas. And so we are talking about a lot of watery energy here, a lot of emotional energy. So with this Cancer new moon and Neptune stationing retrograde, going within, this may be an emotional week for you, especially towards the end of the week. You may be feeling it as Neptune is going retrograde, and we are feeling all the things, right, internally, very strongly. And so why are we being called to this now, right? This is, I would say, from now until the end of the year, we are really being given the opportunity to do extraordinary healing on ourselves. If you are open to that, if you are open to that next level of healing that you are ready for, the planets are here to work with you on that. So if you would like to set that intention for yourself this week at this new moon, right? New moons are always about the new cycle beginning for the month, the new intentions, the new beginnings. And so with a new moon in Cancer, we're talking about the emotional energy. We are talking about, Cancer is also the home. Cancer rules the 4th house, which is all about your home, your actual home that you live in, but also it is the home within yourself, right? It is your early home life when you were a kid. And Cancer is also the mother, as I mentioned earlier. So, whatever you are ready to heal now around your mother, the mother figure in your life, being able to mother your own inner child, whatever your own inner child, whatever he or she did not receive as a kid that you needed emotionally, now this is on tap. This is coming up for healing. And if you are open to that, if you are feeling you are ready for that now, both the moon and Neptune are here to support you on that journey. Okay, so, we are in Cancer season. So that means that the sun is in Cancer. Venus actually is in Cancer. And let's see, when is Mercury? So really, On Monday, Mercury, this is the last day Mercury is going to be in Cancer as well. So if you are listening to this on Monday, July 1st, set a beautiful intention for yourself with all of this Cancer energy that you are ready to heal those emotional needs that were not met at any point in your life. It doesn't just have to be when you're a kid, right? It could be in adult relationships. It could be in friendships. It could be in any time or aspect of your life. And that will be different for all of us. So just feel into what is coming up for you now, where you are feeling that you know pretty clearly what emotional aspects you're ready to heal now. Okay. So on Tuesday, that's the big day, right? That Neptune officially goes retrograde, and then also Mercury is moving into the sign of Leo. And so that's a big shift, right? And Mercury is all about the way we think, that inner self-talk. It is how we process things mentally. It's how we learn. It's how we communicate. So when Mercury moves from watery Cancer, very emotional energy, right, where you really feel into things, and moves into Leo, Leo is fire, right, fiery. But Leo really is the heart as well. Leo is, I always say Leo is the brave-hearted leader, the open-hearted leader, leading from the heart. So it's interesting to me how Cancer can move from the emotions, the watery emotions, into the fiery emotions, right, into Leo. And so I do feel that the fire signs are very emotional as well, but in a different way. Often there is inspiration tied to the fire. And so when Mercury moves into Leo on Tuesday, you may, if you're open to this, you may really receive inspiration, new ways of thinking, Mercury, around how you're willing to communicate now, both to yourself and others, how you're thinking about your emotional needs. Because remember, there's still a lot of energy in Cancer. We're in Cancer season. And come Friday, we're going to have this gorgeous Cancer new moon. So, be open to that, right? Be open to those inspiring, passionate new ways that you are ready to maybe express yourself emotionally from your truth. I always think of fire as truth because it will burn away anything that is not authentic. It will burn away the lies. It will burn away the illusions, right? And so I really like that Mercury has moved into Leo on the same day that Neptune is stationing retrograde, because while there may be a period, or we may temporarily feel confused, not have clarity, maybe feel like those rose-colored glasses are still on when Neptune is going retrograde, Mercury is pretty clear in fiery Leo. And so it is mitigating any sort of lower expressions that Neptune may be unearthing for you at the beginning of this week. Now, I do want to say, though, that whatever's coming up for you, it's right on time. And I know I say that a lot, but even when we are experiencing some of the confusion and the lack of clarity and the disillusionments or the sadness or the lack of motivation, like all of that is here to show you, right? Or show us what we are seeking, right? And so if we have confusion, if we're feeling confusion, around something, then it's showing us that really what we want is clarity, right? If we are feeling a sense of disillusionment, sadness, and disappointment, what it's showing us is that we want to feel uplifted, right? We want to feel as if everything is working out for us. So whatever the shadows are, if they are showing up for you this week, it's showing you what you really want. It's showing you where you really want to move and what you really want to feel and what you really want to experience. And so if you can step out of any sort of victim consciousness and say, okay, well, this is showing me what I do want by showing me what I don't want, then I can start to take steps and move towards that. And then you start to feel more empowered. Okay, so let me just see here. Yeah, so the other thing I want to say about Neptune, because it is an outer planet, we are going to see a lot more confusion and disillusionment, perhaps I want to even say lies on the world stage, okay? Lack of truth showing itself. And, you know, whatever is happening on a bigger scale in the collective, on the world stage, just remember that your power is to go within you, is to stay in your own lane and stay on your own path and keep raising your vibration, okay? Because what is playing out on the world stage is not necessarily for you, okay? You know when something is for you. It shows up right in your face. It shows up right in your life, and you need to deal with it, okay? So let's focus on what you need to address what you are feeling called to work on or work with in your very own life, irregardless of what is playing out on the world stage, because the outer planets are working with the collective. It's not to say they're not working with us individually. Certainly, we all have Neptune in our chart in a certain house, in a certain, well, it's usually generational when it comes to the outer planets, but still a certain sign and a certain house in your chart. And so it is working with you, but on a much more personal level. So let's stick to the personal stuff. That's why I work with the moon, because she's so personal and she affects us so individually. Okay. Now, that being said, though, you know, the moon can represent the people. And so with the moon and Neptune being very simpatico this week, we really could see a lot playing out in the collective. And I'll just allow it. Just allow it, observe it, and then come back to self. Okay, so come midweek on Wednesday, Mama Moon is going to be moving into Gemini, the air sign, right? The air is always about the mind and how we think, how we communicate, how we speak both to others and within our own minds, how we speak to ourselves. And so it's making, Mama Moon is making a beautiful aspect, very supportive and easygoing aspect to the South Node, which is in Libra, also another air sign. So again, we have Mama Moon in Gemini, an air sign, making a trine to the South Node in Libra, another air sign. Libra is all about our one-to-one relationships, fairness, justice. And so the moon, right, our internal world, how we feel, making this beautiful aspect to the South Node, which the South Node wants us to let go, release, be done with. So I feel come Wednesday, Thursday, we may really have a strong sense, a strong feeling of what we are done with in our one-to-one relationships. And we have a real clarity because of all of that air, a real clarity around this. Okay, now remember, the day before on Tuesday, Mercury has just moved into Leo. That brave-hearted, that open-hearted, fiery sign. And so you may be communicating this to someone in your life. What you're done with, what you're ready to be done with, what you're ready to let go of in a dynamic, in a relationship, maybe a relationship altogether. You're ready to move on and release this from your experience. Whatever it is for you, this is right on time. Now, I'm tying this to this new moon in Cancer on Friday, and I will get into it more when we come to Friday, but Wednesday and Thursday is the lead up. It's the lead up to this new moon in Cancer on Friday. Because on Wednesday and Thursday, we have such clarity now. So much clarity around anything, any relationships, any dynamics in relationships that we are just completely energetically finished with. And you know when that happens, right? Where you're just like, you know what? I'm just done. I always say it's like the light switch. It's either on or it's off, and it's not a dimmer, okay? There's no dimmer switch here. It is just the old school switch where it's either on or it's off, and when it's off, you feel it. And you're just like, yeah, I have no more energy for this. I'm ready to be done and move on. Okay, and I really have such clarity around this. That's what Wednesday and Thursday is offering us, with Mama Moon in Gemini, with Mercury in Leo, and aspecting that South Node of letting go, releasing, just done with it. So don't second guess yourself. Okay, if this is coming up for you this week, it's right on time. You're ready. You are ready. So be brave. Step into that Leo, that Mercury in Leo. Be brave. Trust your heart. It will not steer you wrong. Okay. Now we're coming to Friday. This new moon in Cancer. And up on the screen here. So last week I had shared with you all this cute little AI generated kitty cat Cancer that I had made for one of my moon sisters. It was just like a parting gift for the season. For all of the moon sisters, actually, they each got a cute representation of either a cat or a dog in their moon sign. And so last week I shared this adorable kitty cat crab for Cancer, and then I felt for this week I just had to try a dog, because I know I have my cat people, my dog people. Of course, I have my animal people who we all love all of the animals, but it came out pretty cute too. So here you are for all my dog lovers, a cute little cartoony type of crabby dog for the cancers out there. And so yes, sorry for the little diversion. Just had to share that cuteness with y'all. So before I jump into this Cancer new moon, I just want to reiterate one more time that on Wednesday and Thursday, the moon is in Gemini, that clarity of thought, the clarity of communication, trining the South Node of letting go, of releasing and being done with something. In Libra, our relationships are one-on-one relationships, our contractual relationships, right? Or contracts that we have with others. So that could play out. I mean, literally, marriage is a contractual relationship, isn't it? But that could be a contract in your life that you have, a literal contract that you have with someone, and it's just done. Literally done, finished, or you're ready to be done and finished with it. Now, on Thursday, the moon is going to square Neptune. So, I want you to be aware of this on Thursday, that you may be feeling sad. You may be feeling a little victim energy, or that may be directed towards you, right? Like you could be totally clear, like I am done with this, and then that victim energy is being projected to you from that person that you're done with this relationship or this dynamic within the relationship. And so do not be gaslit. Do not allow those projections to infiltrate you and your clarity. Okay, whatever you feel for yourself, keep that separate than whatever another person may feel about the same situation. Because coming up on Friday with this new moon in Cancer, the aspect that the new moon in Cancer, so we have the sun and the moon both in Cancer, this new moon is squaring the nodes. This new moon in Cancer is squaring, which is a hard aspect. It is an aspect of tension, feeling uncomfortable, but also sometimes igniting some action. So you may get that clarity on Wednesday and Thursday, and then you take the action at the new moon, where you are ending a relationship, you are ending the way you show up in a relationship, you are letting go of the memories of a relationship that is already ended. It could play out that way as well, because part of both the moon and Neptune and making challenging aspects to one another and or the nodes is a feeling of nostalgia, but it can play out either way, right? Nostalgia could be really charming and wholesome, and like you're just taking a little trip down memory lane and it feels so good. Or it could feel like regret. It could feel like, again, coming through a victim energy, like you are missing that and you're wishing you still had that. So be very clear with yourself what energies you're feeling and where on the spectrum is it showing up for you. Because the new moon in Cancer squaring both the North Node and the South Node in Libra and Aries, okay, is another big step. This lunation, this new moon in Cancer, is moving us forward if we are ready, if we are aware, and if we are setting that intention. That is what is on offer here. And so the new moon in Cancer is all about our emotional needs. The moon in and of herself is about our emotional needs. The new moon, new beginnings, new realizations, new cycles. Cancer, all about our emotional needs, feeling at home within yourself, mothering yourself, nurturing yourself. And all of this energy coming from the moon is making that challenging or motivating, could be motivating, absolutely, aspect to the nodes. You're ready to move forward. You really, truly are. You're ready. You have the clarity now. Whether this is a current relationship that you know that you're ready to move on from, a dynamic within a relationship that you are ready to change and heal, or an old relationship that you have still been holding on to that you're really truly ready to let go of. And those are only some of the manifestations, right? There can be infinite number of ways this may play out for you. This could really truly be very tied to your own mother. The memories that you have around your mother, how she parented you when you were young, what you received and what you did not receive, you can really truly be ready to let go and forgive now. Let go and forgive. That is a process, I want to say. Forgiveness is not a one-time thing, right? But you may really feel a new level of forgiveness now that may play out for you in your dynamic with your mother if you still have one with her. Or it could be simply a shift within you and how you can feel and think about your mother and how that relationship has helped to shape you in your life. There is a lot of healing energy here at this new moon in Cancer on Friday. And it is my hope that by listening to this podcast, by sharpening your own self-awareness, by setting the intentions, that you are able to achieve whole new levels of healing for yourself now at this new moon. Whether that is with your own mother, with the memory of your mother, with how you mother yourself. Perhaps it is you as mother, right? And the mothering and the nurturing that you offer, perhaps your own children or simply others in your life. There's so much here. There's so much beautiful, deep, emotional energy. And it is my highest wish that we all can come home to self at this new moon in Cancer. Ultimately, that is where all healing takes place, within yourself, first and foremost. So, even if there are other energies that maybe still feel unresolved to you, whether it's in relationships, whether it's with your actual mother figures in your life, your memory of your mother, I will say that this new moon in Cancer is offering you a new level of healing. Even if you don't have complete clarity, just be open to the healing energies, the new beginnings that are being offered at this new moon in Cancer. I want to move on to Saturday now. And so the moon is still in Cancer on Saturday. And there's also something really significant happening on Saturday, and that is with Venus and Chiron. And so I feel really that Friday and Saturday are, even though the planetary energies are taking kind of turns, I guess you could say, in beaming their energies to us, it's all one and the same. It's all for healing the feminine. Venus and Chiron on Saturday are making an exact square with one another at 23 degrees. And that square, as I've mentioned before, can be an aspect of tension, of it could feel like a stress point, but it can also move us to action. Venus is our planet of, as I said earlier, earthly love, but it is self-love. It is relationships with the women in our life, and it is romantic love as well. And Chiron, the wounded healer, right, goes deep into what our wounding is and wants us to shine the light on that wounding so that we can heal it. And so Venus and Chiron are making this aspect of tension on Saturday, coming off of the new moon in Cancer, that emotional new beginning, about coming home to self, about nurturing oneself. And so you may feel really tender on Saturday. You may feel emotional and like the tears are just flowing out of you. And I say, let them flow. It is so cathartic and it is so healing. It is a release. And it is the way that the body knows how to regulate the nervous system. So do not hold back. If the tears are coming, let them come. That could be Friday into Saturday, right? However it plays out for you. But just know on the other side of this is tremendous healing. It is a huge release so that we can start this new beginning, this new cycle of a feeling of really being at home within yourself. And then, of course, that will reflect out to the relationships in your life. We're going to end this week with Mama Moon moving into Leo. And so when the moon moves into Leo, she's also going to be moving towards Mercury, right? Because we know now Mercury is in Leo. And so it could be come Sunday, maybe even into Monday of next week, that you're ready to have those brave-hearted conversations. Remember, Mercury is communication. Yes, it's very much how we think and we process mentally, but it's also how we communicate. And so as the moon is now in Leo on Sunday, moving towards that Mercury in Leo, we may be feeling like we're ready to communicate how our heart feels, what our heart needs, what our emotional needs are. Maybe that means walking away from something or someone, or maybe it's just saying, this is what I know. I have clarity around what my emotional needs are now. And perhaps whoever you're having that conversation with can meet you there. Maybe they're ready to share what their emotional needs are. This can be a very, very healing day, a very healing conversation if you feel that you're ready to have that. You may be entering a new phase of relationship with someone in your life, and this is a new cycle now beginning. How can you both nurture your own selves without neglecting the other in the relationship, in the dynamic? Maybe that is what is coming up for you. Just trust, however this information may be landing for you, whatever it is bringing up for you, that's right on time. And trust what resonates for you. Just remember that with the moon in Leo, that is fire, right? And so tap into the heart energy, but watch, you just want to be aware that it's because Leo can be about the self, very, very much all about the self. and very much in ego. And so you just want to check that, right? Check that, make sure that you are not coming from an egoic place, but you are coming from an open-hearted place. If you are going to have some of those conversations, a conversation with someone, or that one-on-one relationship, right? And having that conversation about what your emotional needs are, just check the ego at the door and come from an open-hearted place. And be open-hearted to how they may receive and respond to whatever it is you're sharing now. Overall, I do feel that this week, the energies are leading and building up to having a lot more clarity now about our emotional needs. And when we think about that in terms of Cancer, the mother, the home, early childhood, memories, the home within yourself, this is an extraordinary opportunity for us to step into that next level of emotional intelligence, emotional clarity. You know, when we think of Cancer, and really any of the water signs, they can have troubles with boundaries, right? Because water is hard to contain, right? So if that is maybe perhaps part of the struggle for you at this time, this week, in some of these conversations that you may be having, look across the chart to Capricorn. Remember, there's always an axis. And so while this is a new moon in Cancer, and that means that the sun and the moon are together as one in the sign of Cancer, we can still look across the chart to Capricorn if there are boundaries, structure, right? That is what Capricorn offers us. We can be open to considering what boundaries may be necessary now to contain, to support our emotional needs. So these energies do not have to be opposite one another. They can complement one another. Okay? And so that might be something you want to consider this week when you are moving through those, the moon is moving through those air energies of clarity and thinking about what your emotional needs are now. And how can you protect that with healthy boundaries, right? And kind of asking Capricorn for some of that wisdom. So I do feel overall this is going to be an extraordinarily healing week. We are ready for this next level. Okay, we are all ready. You've been doing the work. If you're listening to this podcast, you are very self-aware. You have been making the changes. You have been opening up mind and heart, right, to new understanding. And so this new moon in Cancer is that next level of healthy emotional dynamics, of healthy emotional boundaries, and of really deeply understanding what your emotional needs are in any relationship. There's this wonderful saying that I learned many years ago in coaching school, and that is, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Because really, truly, we are the common denominator, right? And so it's really what your emotional needs are in any and all relationships and situations. And of course, that can vary, right? It's not necessarily carbon copy, but once you get the clarity around what your emotional needs are, you can then apply that to the different relationships in your life. Because remember, you are the common denominator. And so while that might change slightly depending on the type of relationship, your emotional needs are still centered in who you are and who you are now. New moon, new cycle, new beginning. You are ready. You are so ready for this. So I want to thank you all for listening in to this podcast. I'm wishing you a really beautiful week ahead, filled with clarity, open-heartedness, bravery, and healthy, freeing conversations, dynamics with others, and just that real feeling of being at home within yourself. Cancer, being at home within yourself. You are your home, right? Just like the crab. You take your home wherever you go. You are your own home. You are the constant. You are the North Star. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening. And I will see you all soon under the moon. Bye-bye for now.